The voice of the provider tonight. What do you want me to share? Merritt wants me to share with you the issue with the Romanian lady that came to us a couple of weeks ago and wanted to know, why do you in Louisiana make it so hard? We had no answer. I can't tell you what Katie said, not in public. Sorry, Katie. But just a brief story. I first went to Hope as a part-time counselor in 1992, and by the mid-1990s, it was a Tuesday evening clinic, which we did back in those days. We were getting the ladies ready for their procedures, had already medicated, and were in the process of proceeding on when we got a call from the Center for Reproductive Rights telling us, stop what you're doing right now. At that time, I think the center was called something else, but I can't remember. But anyway, what had happened was Governor Mike Foster, just before 5 o'clock, had signed into law the 24-hour waiting period. So imagine, if you will, talking to adult women, telling them the governor says you have to go home and think about this some more, and it's for your own good. You know, obviously they were upset, they were angry, and I felt absolutely so much angry on their behalf at the time. But what do? You can't express that at the time because that's not helping them any. You know, you need to be the voice of reason in an unreasonable situation. I didn't know at that time that the anger would become constant as the assault on women's autonomy just increased through the years. As far as the families we serve, and yes, we serve families, not just women. This isn't just about the woman as the patient. They're from Louisiana, they're from Arkansas, Texas, Mississippi, Oklahoma. We've had women come in from overseas. We see women from all ethnic backgrounds. We see women barely educated, highly educated. We see wealthy women. But between 70 and 75% of the women we see live at or below the federal poverty level. And it actually makes sense when most of the time the reason given to us for terminating a pregnancy is they can't afford another child. They're struggling already. They're struggling to make ends meet with the families they already have. Most of the women we see already have one or more children at home they're trying to take care of. They often don't have transportation for one appointment, much less the 2 or 3 that the law requires of them. Child care is often an issue. Transportation is a huge, huge issue. The struggle's real. We see this every day as women call to reschedule their appointment, time and time again. It might be because the babysitter flaked on them, or perhaps they're still trying to round up that last little bit of money. Or the transportation fell through. And you're not talking about just the woman that's having issues. You know, she's going to have a driver there. It might be her significant other, it might be her sister, her mom, but all of these people, they're having to take off work. They're trying to cover expenses from the money lost while they take off from work. Anyway, there are times I'll glance at a patient's chart when they finally do come in for their procedure, and all down the chart you see strike-throughs. They've called and rescheduled. And you look at that and you think, wow, she finally made it here. And you just want to go hug her or something and say, darling, you've been through a lot just to get through the door here. And that happens a lot more than you would think. It doesn't take into account also possible issues at the clinic. What if the doctor gets sick or called out? What if the clinic plumbing backs up? And yes, I wield a mean plunger, by the way. Things happen though, and when these things happen, it's going to slow things down, hopefully not have to reschedule everybody, but it has a domino effect. And again, these are women that have put all their eggs in this one basket trying to get through the door to get things taken care of. When I'm asked what it feels like to be a plaintiff when challenging the state of Louisiana, I always say it requires vigilance. It's time-consuming, sometimes exhausting. And the first lesson I learned once I became administrator is being right doesn't mean you'll prevail. And the second lesson I learned is keep your attorneys on speed dial. But anyway, immediately after the Whole Woman's Health decision, There was an increase in advocacy, and everybody was really pumped. Okay, the tide is finally turning. Then came the election. The antis, I swear to you, seemed to crawl out of the holes they had been hiding in even more. To say that that election was devastating for abortion care providers is like a way understatement. And then, of course, today we get the news from the Supreme Court regarding Justice Kennedy. It's like I started this day off really pumped. You know, we're going to do something good here tonight. We're going to be with like minds. And then we have that came out, and it's like, okay, time to regroup, people. When I was asked to give you a provider's perspective on providing abortion care, I came prepared to tell you that the rewards outweigh the frustration. And it does, it truly does. But every time we see bad news from the court or hear the latest inane bill proposed by the legislature, all we can do is take a deep breath and force ourselves to just keep on. We think of the women we're struggling to assist and to survive. Basically, we arm ourselves with awesome staff, incredible attorneys, and actually some awesome clinic escorts too for you guys here. Just saying. I do want to thank everybody for coming tonight, because it makes us feel like we're not alone in this fight, and it gets difficult at times. And you know, we want to smile, we want to be upbeat, but when the struggles are so real, it's just good to know somebody's got your back. So I thank you for that.